Hi, my name is Mathilda and I'm a calligraphy artist based in London. Today I'm going to share some fun exercises to master a calligraphy nib. The first exercise that I'm going to share with you is a light entry stroke, and then we're going to finish with a thick down stroke, and that will help you get a feeling for how the flexibility of the nib works. So I have a nice smooth paper, and then I have a guide sheet underneath that's used to give me a guide, so I'm working fairly straight. So I'm going to start from the left, and I'm going to go light all the way up here, and then I'm going to apply pressure on my nib. And you'll see that I achieve a thicker stroke. So when you use a pointed nib, you really need to be aware of the angle, because if I have my nib like this, my nib isn't actually going to open, so this is going to be really scratchy. So you want to make sure that this is aligned with where I want this nice, thick, smooth stroke to be. And when you go sideways, or if you go up, you just want to be as light as you possibly can. And then apply thickness to the bottom. And something else you want to look at is try to get a nice finish at the end. When I teach beginners, a lot of the time, you go really smoothly, then they come around, they get really excited, and then they just pull this off, and you get this point. And that's just because now I was still pulling towards me as I was lifting my nib off the paper. So you just want to make sure that when you come around, add your thick, stop, and go straight up. In the first we did a thin stroke, then we paused and we did a thick down stroke. But a lot of the time you will actually need to transition from a thin into a thick and do that really nicely and smoothly. So we're going to practice that. So I'm going to start with the same way, thin up stroke, going up, but then I'm going to go around, start adding pressure, and stop. So I want this to be a really nice and smooth transition. So you want to go from light, apply pressure gently, and then get the thickest part here. And then I'm going to do the same, but I'm going to go the opposite way. So you're going to do a thick, release, up, and light. Show you again. Light, up, apply pressure here as you have come over the curve, thick, release, up, and to the side. So the next exercise, we're going to build on the same kind of motion, but we're going to start getting more of an oval shape in this. So when you do calligraphy, if you look at your capital D, capital B, it's really great to be able to do an oval shape going clockwise. So I'm going to go from the bottom, up, around, add thickness, lighten it up, and stop. And then if you do something like a C, for example, we want to be able to do it the other way around as well. So thin, up, apply pressure, and out. So I find these strokes are especially great to practice before you do your capitals, because we have all these lovely loopy letters. If we look at capital D, you will find that this shape comes in here. So practicing these kinds of strokes will help you achieve like a nice kind of flow in those uppercase letter forms. So this next exercise is one of my favorites to practice to get comfortable with flourishing. But we're going to do an oval 8 shape. I'm going to go light, add thickness, light, thickness, and then add a little ribbon at the end. And this is also really good because you start to kind of move your whole arm and not just your fingers. So I'm moving my whole wrist to get a smoother motion. And the next exercise is kind of flourishing shapes. And what I want to do is I want to fill some shapes with these strokes that we were doing in the previous exercise. So I'm going to do a kind of square shape and maybe an oval. So I'm going to get my ink again, start here, and then gradually make larger shapes. And when you do this, especially if you're doing a big shape, you might run out of ink. So if you stop as you come into a thick, then you can just start on the other side and it will still look like I've done that in one motion. So when you do this, I would probably start with a smaller shape, just because that might be easier, because you can just use slightly smaller movement. But then you can definitely experiment with different types of shapes. Just test it and see what you enjoy. Some love working large, some prefer smaller. But if you're just getting used to a nib, I would say start small and then make some larger shapes. So there we are, that is all of the exercises. So lastly, I would just like to say, the more you do this, the better you'll get at it. Remember that I have done this for many years. So I hope that you have enjoyed these exercises and that you have fun practicing with them. If you want to learn more about me and my process, check out my online course at Domestika. You'll find the link in the description below.